So many times when Syd Bolton comes, I go, because it looks like a shower head we're going to be talking about before the half hour is done. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll
save it.
Yeah, we'll save that for the next segment.
But it does. It looks like a shower
stuff.
head as far as what's going on.
It's true.
How's the wonderful world of the only PC museum in Canada?
It's wonderful, and we have something really exciting going on this weekend, Ted. I'm very, very excited. Now, of course, we know that cable is a very convenient way to watch television, but when I was a kid, before we got cable, we had one of those big, huge antennas up at the house, and I used to tune in when I was a very young lad into TVOntario.
Okay.
And I used to watch this show called Bits and Bytes, and it was all about computers, and we're talking like 1983. And so it was fuzzy. So I was so happy when we finally got cable because it's like, wow, a clear signal. But after this Bits and Bytes, there was something called The Academy with Jack Livesley. And he was this guy, I didn't know who he was, but he would talk sort of about the philosophical things about computers. And again, think about this. We're talking 1983.
So the computer took up the whole room.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, this is when personal computers were first starting out, and people really didn't understand the impact. You were lucky if one person on your entire street had a computer, let alone, one per house, and there was only one in the school where I was at. I mean, there's a big difference, right? So anyways, this Jack guy was just, I don't know, I thought he was like a really cool guy because he seemed to know a lot, although he was just asking the questions of the experts. But he had a really nice way about him, and he was, really fun to watch, and I really learned a lot. So I'm really, really excited that I'm going to get to meet Jack in person on Saturday at the Personal Computer Museum. And anybody that's a TVOntario fan or was from years ago, because Jack was actually on TVO for 20 years, and he did academies on all kinds of different topics. So he's coming to Brantford, and this is the funny thing, Ted, his hometown, Brantford. And he actually grew up just around the corner from where the Personal Computer Museum is
And never
today.
been there.
And has never been here. He's 86 now, I think.
So he's going to be like Kid in a candy store because he's going to go around and go, I did a show on that. I did a show on that. I did a show on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they talked about all kinds of topics with computers, from programming and languages to music and everything else. So to get him to come, not only back to his hometown for people to meet him, but for us to be able to do a Q&A about sort of the behind the scenes. And the other thing is, too, one of the other people that was a frequent guest on the show was a man named Jim Butterfield. And Jim Butterfield was very well known as a Commodore advocate, as just a computer expert in the 80s, and unfortunately passed away in 2007. So here's a chance for people to find out some behind the scenes information about what exactly went on those TV shoots, because of course, you know what you see on TV, but there's always the story behind. I mean, certainly we have those here at Inside Brant,
right.
And people would be shocked to find out what happens behind the scenes. Not really.
I'm just shocked to find out I'm a really cool guy because I don't know anything and I ask the experts.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the, what you do is essentially the role that Jack did, but he was really good at getting at the questions and the answers for what computers were going to be like. And it was amazing because it really gave some insight into what computers would be like long before they ever were as popular as they are today.
1976, I'm in a junior college because I grew up in Quebec, CJEP they called it, and I was doing a computer language course and was clueless as to what I was taking. Nobody had any idea in 1976.
Well, that's really the start of the personal computer. So
is it Fortran?
It was probably, Fortran was
and there was the other language.
There's many languages, but Fortran, COBOL were probably ones.
Right, those are the two.
Yeah, COBOL was, Common Business Oriented Language is what that stood for. And of course, BASIC, which was the one that beginners would use, and sort of the one that everybody that learned to program on, that's where they started. Kind
of like what you teach me. Are you interested in finding out what he has learned just by being the host?
Yeah, and I mean, we've got a bunch of questions we're going to ask him. Some of it's behind the scenes. Some of it is, sort of how his journey has come. He's now an author and whatnot. But yeah, he spent 20 years in television, so it's kind of interesting. He'll have some great war stories, I'm sure. So the museum opens at 10. The Q&A session with Jack is at 1 p.m. As always, admission is free at the Personal Computer Museum. Of course, we'll take your donations. And if you have any old electronics, anything you want to recycle, working or not working, please drop it off. And video games, too. We love our video games.
Mention that at all times. So coming back with technology, and it's not always about computers when Syd Bolton's here. We've got more coming up. I swear it looks like a shower head. He'll figure it out. Syd Bolton's with us because it's Wednesday and because he's got great information. Only on Rogers, Inside Brant.